All right, so I've really gotten into making my own sticks lately. Different woods and stuff. Oh yeah, mark this down before I forget. It's dowelsondemand.com. You may be interested to go there. So anyway, if you have, and obviously I don't have it out in my shop, but if you have one of those combination disc and belt sanders, that's all I use to make these sticks. The first thing I started, these are poplar. Did I bring out the? I guess I didn't. Well, that's all right. I got enough stuff here. Anyway, this is the poplar, right? And it's just got a regular. I use nylon tips. I like nylon tips, and it's not hard to just. All right, I already did this on the other video, but you've got your belt sander, and you stand it up. You can lay it down or stand it up on these rigs, right? All right, so you've got the belt sander standing up. You get your little platform. You just lay it in, and you just start twisting. And as you twist, you just start taking down, and you come out with this. This is 5/8 oak that I tried. It's a little bit heavy, but basically you just turn it in, and you just keep twisting, and you get it down to where you want it. And then I'd affix these nylon tips to it, right? And then I hang them here. You can see all my sticks hanging here. The new batch I just did. Dip it in the can. I just hang it here if I want to put a finish on the bottom because I like the feel of the the lacquer feel or the polyurethane feel on the stick, right? Well, anyway, I wanted to buy these tips, and I'm asking discussion boards, and I'm searching the internet, even Alibaba and stuff, and I can't find these tips anywhere. Now I know a lot of companies today they just shove the stick into an injection mold machine, and they put the tips right on the stick. As part of the stick. They don't put a separate piece on it. They make the tip part of the stick. Well, obviously, I'm not going to go out and buy an injection mold machine. So, but still, a lot of companies are still buying these tips somewhere. Now, my tips came from, where are my ghost sticks? I guess I didn't bring the ghost sticks out, but there used to be a company, Kit Tools, back in the, 90s. Kit Tools made sticks, and they made a model called the Ghost. Nobody at that time was making birch sticks, and they were making some birch sticks, and I bought a bunch from them. I was living in Maine, and they were making sticks for Vic Firth, maple sticks for Vic Firth, and they were up in Kingston, Maine, or something like that up there. So I went up there, met the guys, and got some sticks from them. They also gave me. I said, I like to play nylon tips. Do you have nylon tips? He said, yeah, and he gave me a whole envelope of nylon tips. And as I break those ghost sticks over the years, I just take the tips off and I put them on other sticks. Either sticks that I bought and I just sand them down to take the tip off, and wood tip sticks, and then I put the nylon tips on, right? All right, anyway, so these are the poplar sticks that I got, just dowels at Home Depot or Lowe's. They're kind of light, all right, 16 inches long, 5/8 inch diameter. And they're really, really light. They're also a wide-grained wood, and so it's not hard to split a tip off under impact. You'd rather have something that's a little, a tighter grain. But I like the sticks, and I've been using them. They're just a little bit light. I added a 1/2 inch. I made them 16.5 inches, and that made quite a difference in the feel, that 1/2 inch. But they're still kind of light. So I went out and found some birch dowels, and the birch is not here, but it's the same basic principle of making the sticks, except for this. I can't find tips anywhere, and I'm running out of tips, right? And I can't find tips. What am I going to do? Can you see the little box here? Yeah, okay. So I'm looking all over. Nobody knows where to find tips. And I said, what can I use? So I'm searching all over everywhere on the internet, and I finally decided on these little nylon spacers, 1/4 inch ID, right? 1/4 inch interior diameter. And I thought, okay, can I actually make a drumstick with it? A tip out of that? Oh, yes, you can. I got 5/8 inch and also 3/4 inch, right? And if you don't want them that big, I'll show you in a second here. If you don't want them that big, doesn't matter. You put this on the disc sander and zzz, and you just take it right down to whatever size you want. But I started out with this, all right? So now what do you have? Well, you do your gig on the belt sander, right? And you get your basic shape. Then what you do is you go over to the disc sander, and I just take it in just so I get that shape right there. All right. Now once you've got that on, you take your tip on. All right, your tip is on there, and I affix it with different things I've tried. This is JB Weld, their super weld, like a super glue. This rapid fuse, the DAP rapid fuse, I use that a lot. I use some epoxy, and I also use some goop, carpenter's goop, if I can find it. Can't find that as much, but regular goop works. But so far, what I like the best is the rapid fuse. It's a little bit more work to do the epoxy because you have to mix two things, and you only have about 5 minutes before it sets up. And but it's good if you have gaps. If you're doing this now, if you guys are into woodworking, and the toughest thing is when you're putting it on the disc sander, you don't want to create another cone. As soon as you whittle that stick down originally, and you've got that 1/4 of an inch there, so you can just sneak it into your tip. You don't want to turn that into a cone and create more room. So when you turn it into your disc sander, you got to be careful that you're keeping it out at an angle so that you're taking the back end all the way up to the front. You don't want to touch the front because you've already got that at a 1/4 of an inch. If you're a woodworker, you know that. But if you guys are going to try this, I mean, listen, we're talking. I've got tons of sticks here. There's a guy named Steve Smith, new friend of mine, and he's over at what is it, the drumforum.org site, I guess it is. And met him. He lives about an hour and a half away, so I went up there and did some jamming with him up in Oklahoma. Right, I'm in Texas now, and I go up to Oklahoma, and I'm messing around with his sticks. And I said, "What are these?" And he's basically playing like a long 7A, right? So I said, I gotta try this. So I went out and got all kinds of dowels, and I said, I'm gonna found my tips to put on there. So let me go back to the 1/2 inch first, right? Let me do that. I got my dowels from Dowels on Demand. There was another place too that I got them in 6-foot lengths and cut them down. But the Dowels on Demand guy, Dave, he's really cool, and he sent me some extra samples in my orders just to see some other wood. He said he's given dowels to guys that make sticks before, so he was familiar with what I wanted to do. He sends you nice straight dowels and stuff. So I got, what did I get? I got hickory, white oak, I got Purple Heart, and cherry. I think I got from him the first time around, and I also got from another place walnut and I don't know, some other stuff. I forget. And the reason I forgot is because I let go of the idea. This is jojoba. Now you're saying, well, big deal. So what? Well, if you could feel the difference between the jojoba, which is I think it's an Australian wood. Could be Africa, I forget. But it's a very heavy, dense wood. And I did this. He just sent these as samples. I thought, all right, well, they're really heavy. Maybe with a stretch 7A. These are 1/2 inch dowels. Maybe with a stretch 7A, they'll feel pretty cool. And so these are the jojoba, and they're just a couple of samples he sent me. And I think these are the white oak. And you can see I messed around. Basically, then you've got your tip on there. What do? All right, so your belt sander is standing up, right? You got your platform here. And I just take it and I twist it really fast. Start out very close to the belt, twist it, and start coming down until I've basically created a bullet tip. This is another shape that I just messed around with to see if I would like it. But most of them are all these just a bullet tip. The back end, they round it when you get a nylon tip, and they round the back end and stuff. That doesn't really matter. It doesn't touch anything. So I've been messing around with different size tips. This is a really small one. So this is like a 7/16, maybe 3/8. I brought it down to, and you just take it on the disc sander, and once you got it to the height you want, then you just and you just you know, spin it, and you get your knot. And they're not, listen, when you're creating your neck shapes and stuff, and how far back you want your neck to be off the shaft, you can experiment all different kinds of ways. I did here, and the tips are not. If you match up each one of these tips, you know, I'm eyeballing it, but you don't notice the difference in feel or sound or anything. The variations they're so small, and I'm just eyeballing it and able to do it. Well, these are the cherry. Okay, I made a whole bunch of cherry. I made some of the walnut. These are a few of the walnut. I used 3/4 inch tips on these, I think, just as an experiment. Maybe I did a little both on all of them. I really was excited to get Purple Heart. And I don't know if you can see the color here in the light that I'm using in the room, but I was really excited to get the Purple Heart. Well, here's the problem. I never noticed this before, and I've been using maple sticks for 20 years. I mean, I stopped using hickory sticks a long time ago. 25 years now I've been using maple sticks because I just like the feel of a thicker stick, but not the weight. And so I've been using maple sticks, right? Well, there was just this, I don't know, I was just excited about the color and everything for the Purple Heart. I said, man, these are really custom sticks. This is pretty cool. But what I noticed was, it shocked me. The more heavy and dense the stick, this is the jojoba, right? And these are drying. I don't even know what these are. These are a 5/8. Dave sent me these as a. These are very heavy as well. He sent these as a experiment for me to try. And these are still wet, so I got to be careful how I put them back so they don't touch. And there they go, touching while they're drying. Not good. Okay. The heavier the stick. And I brought my wife in here, and she sat in this chair while I was behind the set. And I said, "Can you hear this? Is this just me?" So I started out with the heaviest stick at the time that I had before I got this last order, which is the jojoba, right? And I hit the drum, 8-inch tom, bum. And I kept going to lighter, softer woods, bum, 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 bum. I said, "Can you hear that?" She goes, "Yeah, what is that?" I said, I don't know. It's like the heavier, denser wood is absorbing the energy that's coming off the head somehow. And I'm just using the exact same velocity. Going down through this jojoba is where I started, going through the white oak, the hickory, the Purple Heart, down to the cherry. And as I'm getting lighter and lighter, I'm hearing more tone out of the drum. Then I went to the really soft stuff. The poplar, and the maple, and the birch. It's what I've been using lately is birch. And the drum just opened up. And I went around to all the drums. The bigger drums, not as much, but the smaller toms, 8, 10, 12, you could hear it. But as the drums got bigger, there was less and less of the absorption of the energy off the head from the heavier woods. And I thought, well, this is crazy. So anyway, I just had to let go of the Purple Heart. The drums were not speaking under the velocity of the heavier, more dense wood. That was crazy. That was a crazy experiment. Well, when I like these bozo sticks. How do you see that? Can you see that? Bozo? These are the, I think I mentioned these last time. I really like these sticks. The weight. These are 16.5 inches long. And I've always used sticks that are 16 or a little bit under, 15 and 7/8, whatever. These are 16.5 long, and I love these sticks, with the exception of bamboo just has a strange flex to it, and you don't really get a decent rim shot out of it. I don't know. It's cymbals are fine. Doing tom rolls, and especially a lot of rudiments, drag rudiments, are really nice with these. Then I thought, okay, I'm going to take the poplar and I'm going to try 16.5 inches, which is what I did. I made 16.5 inch, and I've been playing these sticks a lot, but they're just kind of light. So I went out and got the birch dowels, as well as the 1/2 inch stuff. I said, okay, I'm going to try this. And what I ended up doing ultimately I said, I'm going to try some more woods here. So what you see hanging, most of these are dry, right? These are on the heavier side. And these are the ones I made with the much smaller tip, and I cut them down to 15 and 7/8. They're heavier wood, mahogany and Maycor, slightly heavier. I like sticks that are 40 to 46, maybe 48 grams. When you get 50 and above, and they're just too heavy for me, I'm afraid I'm going to crack a cymbal or something. But what I did was, on these two, I took the necks down much farther, all the way down to here. You know, like 4 or 5 inches down is how I profiled my neck, and put the smaller tips on. I haven't used these yet because these are just experiments basically. The other two are still drying. I made a pair for each just to see what they feel like. And I also got, this is fir. You're saying fir? Framing lumber? Indeed. Fir actually has a higher density than poplar. So I thought, okay, I'll try it. And these are all they've just dried. So these are going to be my favorites, I think. The weight is just about perfect. These are cherry. And, you know, it forms really easily. But it's a nice hardwood. These are the cherry. They came out really nice. I love the feel of those. And these are sycamore. And I went by the Janka chart for wood density, the flooring chart. And you can, you know, when you look at the Janka chart, you'll see the density variations wood to wood. So I knew where poplar was as far as weight and density. So I went up and I saw here's maple, here's birch, here's obviously hickory, oak, here's the density of those woods. And I thought, I want something lower. You know, get me down to about 1,000 or less, 900. Well, even the, these are, I think, what are these, 980, the mahogany? I forget. But they're just under 1,000, and they're too heavy. For me, they're too heavy. You might be perfect for other do-it-yourselfers that want to try this. But the sycamore and the cherry are just in the right 44, 46, 47 grams per stick. And I really like them a lot. I also made, these are an experiment. These are 3/4 inch. they're like telephone poles. And I thought, but they're poplar and they're very light. I'm kind of amazed, but they're just huge in the hands. That said, I'll use them as practice sticks on the kit. I need to put some finish on them. I like the feel of the finish. So anyway, that's what I've been up to as far as the sticks go. These tips, everything, you get these nylon tips, and I should I'm going to do I'll do another video. I don't want to move the camera and do it. I'll just shoot another video, and I will show you the difference between wood tips, typical nylon tips, and these tips. My wife was shocked. I was shocked the first time I did it. And I'll just use the same velocities. Ding, ding. You get more of a ting out of the nylon, and then all of a sudden, ding. I mean, it's unbelievable with these tips. And I think that there's something about this, because with a regular nylon tip, the stick is going to stop right about here somewhere, and you'll get about 1/8 of an inch of the nylon, the plastic, right? But with these, the stick is going all the way up to the end. The wood's going all the way up to the end, and there's still plenty of nylon when you file it down, when you sand it down. Zzz, there's still plenty of nylon there, but the size of the tip is obviously different. There's just a lot more there, and the amount of tone it brings out of a cymbal, a ride cymbal, is unbelievable. But I'll do that on another video, so I don't have to move the camera and edit and all that kind of stuff, because that's not my gig. But anyway, if you're into do-it-yourself and you want nylon tips and you can't find nylon tips, these things are like, they come 100 to a box. I got them on Amazon for, I don't know, $13 for 100 of them. So you're saying, well, how much does it cost you then to make these sticks? And I already mentioned before, it goes as low as, for the fir, about $1.75 a pair. $1.75 a pair. And by the way, you say, how long does it take? I think I already mentioned this in the last video. I can make a full pair of sticks in about 3 minutes. And then I have to wait, obviously, I dip my sticks and, you know, wait for them to dry for a couple of coats for the finish. But just to make the actual physical stick, 3 minutes, maybe 3.5 minutes. The whole thing, just, and then come over and take the tip down and cut it for length, do a little sanding there to take off the sharpness of the edge on the disc sander, and glue the tip on. 3.5, 4 minutes tops. 4 minutes tops, each stick. No big deal. And all the way up to, I guess the most expensive was the Purple Heart. These are the 1/2 inch, so if I got 5/8, they'd be more expensive than that. But either way, no more than, I don't know, $4 a pair? $4, maybe $4.50 a pair. Compared to what you're paying for sticks nowadays, yeah, I won't be buying sticks anymore, that's for sure. Especially I can custom shape the necks. I've experimented with with length and stuff and diameter of the necks, and came out with something I like. And I marked the stick where I want it to be. I put some painter's tape, some blue painter's tape on there, so I know where to stay away from. You know, and I've experimented with shapes and stuff that I can now just in a few minutes and put the glue and bang, done. Dip them and I'm good. So, making your own sticks. This is a further development of how I've gone along with this. But I think the next video, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the difference of the tips, or of the density of the sticks on the drum, to show you the difference. The harder and heavier the wood, the more dense the wood, it seems to choke the drum. It literally chokes the drum. It's kind of startling. If my wife could hear it, I'm sure, you know, you guys will hear it, drummers will hear it. But also these tips, just so easy to do, man. Just so easy to do. And the sound on the cymbals is fantastic. You know, if you like nylon tips. If you like wood tips, you know, if you like wood tips, you're going to have a hard time. I thought about this. Can I make a wood tip on the belt sander? And I'd come down, and unfortunately the belt sander, the belt is right up against the, right up against the housing of the belt. So a wood tip obviously is going to stick out and, go around. I can't get that space unless I bring it up to the top where I've got a little bit of space here. But then I don't have the table to put it on to spin it, to get a nice even spin. If you go to do this, and you have a little bit of wiggle room up at the top here, if you've got, when you go to slide your tip on down and it's got a little bit of wiggle room, if it's just a hair, the rapid fuse, if you just put enough rapid fuse so it leaks out top and bottom, and you wipe it off, but you can fill that gap and it'll work fine. If you kind of mess up and it's really kind of wobbly at the top, a little bit of room, make up some epoxy, which is thicker, and that will fill up that little space even better. Now, if you bring it down, you want 1/4 of an inch, and if you're bringing it down a couple of millimeters less, start again. You don't want to leave everything up to the epoxy to hold on to. You have to have a pretty decent fit. So experiment on inexpensive, poplar from the Home Depot, or whatever. But yeah, Dave at Dowels on Demand. Oops, that was my stick, my pencil. Dowels on Demand, nice guy, and he you place your order, and then he'll send you stuff and bill you, and PayPal, whatever, and you're good to go. So that's where I'm at this point, and I wanted to just share the gig about the nylon tips. And now I'm going to do a video about how these puppies sound, and it's really cool. All right, that's it. Thank you.